And do you know what those flies do? They infect our food, because, as we will learn later, is that the flies first vomit whatever it has eaten into the foods that it wants to eat. And so once the fly vomits, it vomits what it had eaten earlier. So if it had eaten some feces or fecal matter, it will vomit it into the food that you have kept on the table if you have not covered that food. I believe you're doing well, and thank you so much for tuning in to this channel. As I have taken it as my own obligation to inform our community on how to remain safe, and especially now that the rains have begun, let me tell you, this is the worst season for our health. What do I mean? This is the time that the water gets contaminated. This is the time we eat foods, if they are not cleaned, if we have not washed those, we get the infections. This is the time when flies multiply like never before, because this weather of heavy rains and sunshine, it causes the flies to multiply. And do you know what those flies do? They infect our food, because, as we will learn later, is that the flies first vomit whatever it has eaten into the foods that it wants to eat. And so once the fly vomits, it vomits what it had eaten earlier. So if it had eaten some feces or fecal matter, it will vomit it into the food that you have kept on the table if you have not covered that food. And so we need to take seriously some of the precautionary measures that we need to take up during this season of rainfall for us to remain safe. But as I have said from the various other previous videos, every moment that we need to treat our water before actually we consume something that is unimaginable. Something that is unimaginable. Something that is unimaginable. I'm shrugging, but just forgive me and take the information with you. Do you know how we consume some things that we cannot even imagine? Do you know that we can consume fecal matter of somebody else through consuming water that has not been treated? I'm not here to scare you, but you see, once there are these heavy rainfalls, the heavy rainfall causes the water to flood into our rivers. Then the water is usually tapped from a certain place, and the chemical that treats the water cannot satisfactorily sanctify the waters, because the flow of the water is more than expected. Okay, the chemical is supposed to be added even as the rains increase. But you see, sometimes the rains increase during the night, and once you awake in the morning, there are floods, there is the water is excess even in the treatment plants. So the control of treatment is can be compromised by the heavy flow. So we need to treat our water before we consume it. And how does that contamination come? When the floods get into our rivers, those floods have carried humus from the trees, the fecal matter that people have openly defecated into the bushes or in the forest. It is actually carried into the rivers, and now that water gets to our taps. sorry to say this, but there is some possibility that you consume contaminated water, even from the tap, because in nowadays what we have seen, people tap their waters, or they tap their waters directly raw from the river, and there are no even those treatment plants or treatment joints, so that water gets direct to the tap, direct to the cup or to the glass. Then once you consume that water, rest assured that water could have a possibility of having germs in it, bacteria, virus, into that water. And as we have agreed that we shall continue to discuss on matters pertaining communicable diseases, because actually communicable diseases, we have the power to control whatever gets to our bodies. Have the waterborne diseases, we shall discuss about them. The airborne diseases, we have the sexually transmitted diseases, and many other contact infections. As we classify them one by one, we will continue to discuss more about them, and even get questions from the viewers. What would you like to know more about a certain topic, or a certain disease that we have discussed, or a condition or infection? Actually, we will realize that more than 80% of the diseases and conditions that affect humanity, we can actually control it through our own effort. So just simple work that can prevent us and protect us, and even we save a lot of money, because to buy drugs, we don't need to run to the hospital. We have time to go to our shambas and work, because we are healthy, and so we are able to save a lot and become those millionaires in the making. We shall continue to realize on how we connect being a millionaire and being healthy. So